This is not a really good look for the Conjuring house, and what I mean by that is a debunker by the name of the Side-Eye Guy has just exposed what it's truly like to go to the Conjuring house, including pricing and some other absolutely radical things, and we're going to take a look at it today to see if it is simply strange. Now, I don't typically watch debunkers, but this one popped up. Skeptic exposes what it's really like overnight at the Conjuring house, honest review debunked. And I wanted to check it out because obviously I've been covering this situation and I've been very intrigued by it. And I watched maybe the first 5 to 7 minutes of the video and I thought, actually, do you know what? This is probably one of the better debunker videos that I've seen in a very, very long time because, I mean, I don't know, I've had a bit of a shady background with debunkers, but regardless of that, we're going to check this out. We're going to see what the Conjuring house is truly all about. And I think some of the things in this video are truly going to shock you. Let's get into it. Right, come on.
Hey, Segways. I'd imagine most of you who clicked on this video have some impression or knowledge of the Conjuring house.
Yes, we do. And also the more recent controversies, which seems to overshadow the actual legacy of the house at the minute.
Whether it be the movies, Cody as a Tory, or maybe you've watched some of the many YouTube ghost hunting channels who have been scared half to death while inside the infamous Conjuring house. This video here today isn't about our investigation at the Conjuring house. Those videos will be found on Entity 7 Paranormal and Weeping Willow's channels, but unfortunately our investigation will not be on my channel, and I will explain why this is a little later in the video.
Now, the reason for it truly took me by absolute surprise. I was gobsmacked and flabbergasted when I heard this.
But if you want to watch our investigations of our night at the Conjuring house in full, please go watch these videos here. The link will be in the description. In this video you're watching right now, I am going to explain what you are to expect when booking for the Conjuring house under the current owner, Jacqueline Nunez. There has been some recent controversy surrounding Jacqueline on how she has treated some of her now ex-caretakers at the Conjuring house. So I'm going to share some of my thoughts on this recent controversy, but then I'll get back on topic on why you actually clicked on this video in the first place. Because when I explain some of the details on what it's like actually being at the Conjuring house and booking with the Conjuring house, it may really surprise you. So, Jacqueline Nunez.
It did me. You know, I'd like to think that it would be plain sailing. You know, obviously one of the most notorious haunted houses probably in the world. You know, bolstered by the movie franchise The Conjuring. It was the hub of the first movie. Then there was the controversy with Cody and Satori and Sam and Colby, which really elevated its platform. But it's not all as it seems.
Last week sent out a Facebook post which honestly just sounded like the rambling, scrambled thoughts of a nutter. Reading between the lines, she accused Cody and Satori, everyone's favourite toe-tapping couple, of faking their ghost communicating methods.
Now, she literally blackmailed these two into stating that if they don't call, like, this was on Jason Hawes's video. I made a video about this maybe, I think it was 2 days ago at the time of you guys seeing this, or 3 days ago. And basically, Jacqueline texted Cody and Satori after they resigned and quit and said, if you don't come back to work, I will expose you as fake. Blackmail. Crazy scenes.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock.
She then goes on a tirade of abuse and just keeps swearing over and over again in a way that makes her come across as an angry, unhinged person. Honestly,
right.
Jacqueline, if continuing your ownership of the Conjuring house is having this kind of effect on you, just sell it. I'm sure it's worth a pretty penny and you have no shortage of buyers. Shortly after Jacqueline made this Facebook post, Jason Hawes hosted a live stream where he had a bunch of the ex-caretakers of the Conjuring house on the live stream, as well as Cody and Satori themselves, who of course were also Conjuring house caretakers. They were all giving their side on the stories and explaining that Jacqueline Nunez is a toxic boss to work for.
And then these two were the ex-owners who ended up selling the house to Jacqueline Nunez, and she accused them of stealing funds from her accounts. They even asked the question, how do we get access to your accounts? Well, good question.
I'm not going to get too bogged down with what was said on this live stream, so please go watch the whole thing for yourself. It was a very interesting watch, but I can't help but come away from the whole thing with the mindset that it's pretty rich for Cody and Satori of all people complaining about others being dishonest. I'm not saying it's right for what Jacqueline accused them of, but when you make the decision to lie for a living, it's hard to garner any kind of sympathy, at least from me.
At the same time though, like I said in the last video, if Jacqueline Nunes was to come forward and say, yeah, you know, for sure, these two are fake, it completely like shoots her in the foot, because she's allowed those two to continue doing what they do under the guise of, you know, providing an experience, a paranormal experience for paranormal enthusiasts, whilst knowing it was fake. So therefore, she's kind of exposing herself as fake and, like, you know, money grabbing and kind of scamming people to a degree. So it's a bit strange.
As I said earlier, there were other ex-employees of Jacqueline's on Jason's live stream, and it's really good to see Jason giving those people a platform to voice their grievances on how they were treated by Jacqueline while working at the Conjuring house. But for Cody and Satori to moan about any of this just feels like bullshitters bullshitting about another bullshitter. It's like some great big bullshit sandwich. Anyway, let's get back on track with the main subject of this video. When you book for the Conjuring house, you do so on the Conjuring house website. Unsurprisingly, the Conjuring house isn't free, you know, far from it. And some of you may be surprised about just how expensive the Conjuring house has become while under the ownership of Jacqueline Nunes.
Now, I've had people in the comments section of my videos where I've covered this topic being like, you've got it wrong. They only charge like £980 for a group of 6 to go for a night on a Thursday. And it's like, okay, that's great, but this guy literally exposes the actual pricing. So make sure you're listening up if you're one of those people.
At the time of booking for our group to go to the Conjuring house, I was screen sharing with Joe Fatale from Entity 7 Paranormal, so I read all of the same terms and conditions that he did. Joe made the down payment for our stay at the Conjuring house, and his channel is under 15,000 subscribers, so that made it all a little bit cheaper. We also decided to make ourselves available for a Monday night investigation, which also made our stay a bit cheaper. But even with saving a bit of money here and a bit of money there, after taxes, this cost Joe around $1,500 for the night.
Can we talk about that for a second? $1,500 for one night to go and experience potentially nothing for one night. That is a mind-boggling amount of money, and that's how much I said it was in my last video, and everyone was like, you got that wrong. No, I didn't.
Because he also had to pay for an extra person who unfortunately had to cancel last minute. But still, $1,500. For context, the Bel Air house was just under $500, and that was also to stay for the whole night. But there's more. After this booking, we must have missed in some very small print, because really this should have been made far more obvious to us at the time of booking, that for this $1,500, that only permits one channel to film for the purpose of uploading to YouTube.
I find that utterly mind-boggling. Like, that, to a degree, is free promotion on top of the $1,500. These people are paying to promote your house, right? And you're limiting it to one person allowed to upload to YouTube or to social media. What the actual F? Like, this is mind-blowing. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand. What is this business practice? Because, or wherever you went to, like, get your business ideas, it was shocking. You've had a shocker.
There can be only one.
But there were 3 channels in our group, including myself. After emailing the Conjuring house to clarify some of this confusion, they told us that on any given night, there was a maximum of only 2 channels that were allowed to film for the intention of uploading to YouTube.
That's
but
crazy.
this second channel had to pay another additional fee. And this additional fee was $850.
Right, for context, to make around $850 on YouTube from a video, you would need, depending on CPM, it's very finicky, so it varies from channel to channel and location to location and, you know, length of video, all sorts. There's so many variables, but let's say for argument's sake, to make around $850, you'd probably need in the ballpark region of around 100,000 to 200,000 views. Again, that takes into account, take into account video length, location that you upload from, because that does depend on CPM, what goes on within the video, whether it's completely advertiser friendly or not. Like, there's so many like finicky factors that people don't realize. So yeah, someone would need to get around 100 to 200,000 views to garner, just to make that money back. To profit from it, you're probably looking at 3 to 4 to, well, anything beyond 200,000 views, roughly.
Oh, come on! So this brought the total price of our group to stay for one night at the Conjuring house at $2,350 US.
Again, to make that kind of money back, to make $2,350 back, you probably need around, it's hard to say, 4 to 500,000 views, I should imagine, somewhere in that ballpark, just to make that money back. It's crazy, like crazy.
And now I have no money.
Like, let's put it into context. My highest video made on my main channel made like, I think it was like around £4,000 US pounds. So, and that had almost 700,000 views. So yeah, you can do the math.
Here are some Rhode Island Airbnbs that are cheaper for the price that we paid at the Conjuring house. And these Airbnbs can host a group as big as our group was. Since Entity 7 Paranormal and Weeping Willow Paranormal, please go to their channels to subscribe, they're great by the way, are paranormal investigating channels, I thought it'd be best that they film content for their channels. Since I'm a debunker, I can react to their videos, of which I will get round to doing, so please subscribe to my channel if you want to see that.
Yeah, gotta get that money.
So this is why I said at the beginning of this video that I have no videos of our investigation on the Side Eye Guy channel, because I was not allowed to film for the purpose of uploading to my channel. But just to be clear here, even if I wanted to pay a shit ton of money to film during our investigation, I was not allowed to.
Now, I would be intrigued to see what you get for that price point. Do you just get access to the house for the night? Do you get refreshments throughout the night? Do you get, you know, did someone take you around the house and kind of almost like a guided investigation? Or is it like you're just left to your own devices? Do you get provided equipment to use on the night? Like, what parameters do you get for that price point? Because I don't actually know. I haven't looked into it, so I'd be very intrigued to know.
This is a 2-channel per night limit. And this is
crazy.
also why I had to film my solo Conjuring House basement live stream on Entity 7 Paranormal channel.
Wild.
I do not know of any other haunted locations with a rule like this. You can go to Waverly Hills with a huge group, and as long as you pay the price to film for commercial purposes, as many channels can film on that night in that location as you want.
I still find it crazy that you have to pay extra to film for commercial purposes. Like, surely like a company would just see that as advertisement, free advertisement of that. Actually, paid for advertisement. No, they don't even pay out. They are being paid to have their building advertised. Do you know what I'm saying?
So, before I even get to the Conjuring house, I'm not off to the best start with it. But then, there is even more red tape, which we did not realise at the time of making the actual booking. Before you are allowed to upload your video to YouTube, you must first provide that video to the Conjuring house team, and then they will tell you if it is approved to go on YouTube. And since you are signing a contract giving them permission to do this, God knows what kind of legal troubles you could get into. So I suppose...
And we all know that Jacqueline Nunez likes to throw around the idea of lawsuits and stuff from what we've heard. So, you know, she would go down that route for sure. And the fact that it has to be vetted, that means that you could literally create a video, right? You could create a fantastic video. All the evidence that you want. Jacqueline Nunez might just turn around and be like, actually, I don't like this video. That's not allowed to be uploaded to YouTube. And there's nothing you can do. Literally, you forked out all that money and you won't even make any money back. Crazy.
Suppose there is a chance that you could pay around $1,500 for your evening to film at the Conjuring house, and then if the Conjuring house say so, your video will never see the light of day on YouTube. There might well be some other haunted locations that also do this same thing, but as far as I can tell, it's really not very common at all. And this is why it's taken me this long to get this video out on YouTube, because I wanted to wait first for Weeping Willow Paranormal and Entity 7 Paranormal to have their videos first approved by the Conjuring house.
Wow.
Because, you know, I'm a debunker and I might not necessarily say the nicest things about my time at the house. And just on the off chance that the Conjuring house might have been vindictive, I didn't want to give them any reasons to deny my friends' videos.
I think that's fair. You know, respect that. And at the same time, I think it's probably best that he didn't have a video uploaded to his channel, because obviously he's had a lot to say about Jacqueline Nunes in the past, and, you know, talking about the Conjuring House and Cody and Satori. So I think if he was to go down the route of uploading it to his channel, he'd probably have a harder cock block than that of the other two channels. I've never heard of them, but they look good.
But to be fair, I have no idea if the Conjuring House would even care about my silly little video. I just didn't want to take the risk. So, let's skip to the last thing we had to do before even setting foot inside the Conjuring House.
Can we talk about the fact that this video, we're 7.5 minutes in to this video, 7 minutes 45 in, and he's not even been able to step through the door yet. These are all the loopholes that you've got to jump through.
Sign the waiver, which might sound like a boring standard kind of thing to do, but when you actually read this waiver, it's insane. So I'm not going to read the whole thing, but let's just focus on the important bits. It starts off with warnings of weak, uneven, and even broken floorboards, which is all pretty standard when you see the age of this house. But of course we get into stuff like violent spiritual attacks, attachments, and even objects, spirits, or other people falling on or striking you. Yeah, okay, whatever that means. But at number 25, we get the very real danger of wild animals. But of course, the Conjuring House even has to take this too far. And all wildlife known or unknown, including Bigfoot and extraterrestrials. What's going on, man? I mean, for...
Bigfoot and aliens. Well, this is crazy. You've got a haunted house, and then they're like, oh, but there's a chance that you could encounter aliens and Bigfoot. What the fuck, man? This is crazy.
For the love of God, I have never heard anyone ever claim that Bigfoot is even in Rhode Island, let alone around the Conjuring House.
Do you know what? I'm actually going to Google it. I'm going to Google it. Rhode Island Bigfoot. It's not even on the top suggested. Bigfoot, right? Finding Bigfoot. Big Rodney. No, Bigfoot in Rhode. Oh, hang on. We could be onto something here. Legend meets truth. Bigfoot in Rhode Island. One of the first eyewitnesses to come forward with a testimony of the Bigfoot in the small state of Rhode Island. Right, there has been one encounter, and it's been turned into a book. This is amazing. This is so good, man. I love it.
And we're even talking about aliens now. Jacqueline Nunes and the Conjuring House team are just trying their absolute best to shoehorn in as much dumb paranormal bullshit into this waiver as they possibly can. And honestly,
Side-eye guy, if you ever see this video, I doubt you will, but if you do, and you get this far, did you encounter an alien? Did you encounter Bigfoot? Did you encounter anything that is unknown origin, not of this planet?
I felt embarrassed signing my name onto that waiver. Anyway, now we finally get into the bloody house. And before I go any further, I'd like to introduce historian Jamie Rubio into this video, as she knows a lot of things about the real history of the Conjuring House.
Now, this is a very interesting part. This was the part of the video that I ended up getting to. But if you want to check this this part of the video out, you're more than welcome to go over to the Side-Eye Guys YouTube channel. I'll leave a link down in the description to the full video, so you can check it out for yourself. But it is a very interesting part, I must say. But I'm intrigued to see what went on during his time there.
Same debunk of the Bathsheba Sherman myth. Brian explained to me that he does this, but he could not speak for all the other caretakers, which is fair. But it does make me wonder, if the other caretakers do say the Bathsheba Sherman thing is BS, then why are there still so many paranormal investigating YouTube teams who spin this well-known debunked narrative?
Bathsheba brings in the money, baby. It's a great tag to use. I bet. It's great to use in your title. Bathsheba. Everyone knows it from the Conjuring movies. If you put that in your title, you're onto a winner.
I am Bathsheba.
Okay.
And Lorraine Warren said that this house is haunted by a malevolent spirit, and they think that it was Bathsheba Sherman, who at the time was considered a witch.
Over 100 years ago, a woman named Bathsheba Sherman had once lived on this land. Rumor has it that one day she was babysitting a neighboring child when that child was eventually found dead from a needle wound in the back of its head. Now immediately she was accused to have done it because she was the last one to have seen the child, but nothing was ever proven. But this is where it gets weirder. Not long after that, her husband would apparently witness her taking their own child's life before immediately pledging her allegiance to the devil and cursing all who would live on her land.
You gotta admit, Twin Paranormal, for all their videos are very eccentric and, you know, upbeat and whatever, their editing is chef's kisses. It's so good.
Bullshit.
Also, while on this tour, Brian told us that he would rather we did not wander around the grounds during the night, which was pretty disappointing since I kept hearing the grounds of the Conjuring house is as haunted as the house itself, if not more haunted. And the reasons why he asked us not to wander around the grounds at night, the neighbours might complain about the noise. The grounds of the Conjuring house is pretty big, I couldn't even see the next house over. So, for $2,350, we were asked to not leave the house. Meanwhile, when a huge channel like Project Fear filmed at the Conjuring house, they were allowed to wander out and about filming all sorts of nonsense for hours on end with Cody and Satori. So yeah, this definitely left a bitter taste in my mouth. Now I'm not blaming Brian for this, I'm sure he was told from his boss. Last point on Brian, I asked him, because I just had to, if he had witnessed Cody and Satori's toe tapping method. Brian said he had, and he outright believed it was legit. He told me that you really have to see it for yourself, and then when you do see it in person, you will not believe it's fake. Now I have to admit, I have obviously not seen this done in person, but even still, I just cannot believe that that is legit. I just can't. Oh. Lastly, Jamie, I've just got to ask you, since that house is so old and so many different...
So I am going to stop it there now. So if you guys do want to go on and check out your the full video, like I say, check it out down below. I wanted to cover some of the highlight bits. Obviously, that's not the entire video, like I've said, but I wanted to cover some of those parts because it just boggles my mind that these guys paid $2,350. They were only allowed, they were confined to the house while they were there. 2 channels as a maximum were allowed to record. The videos had to be pre-checked before they were approved to go live. I've only ever known that with brand deals. And, yeah, like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, this is mind-boggling to me. Like, surely YouTubers at this point, and, you know, content creators and TikTokers or whatever, are looking at this thinking, I'm not going to bother touching that place with a 10-foot barge pole because it's not worth my time nor my effort. Crazy. What do you guys think though? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Is it time for the Conjuring house to change hands? Is it time for new management? Let me know what you guys think. While you're down there, be sure to jump scare the hell out of that like button if you have gone on to enjoy. Subscribe if you're new to come on with us to get notified whenever we upload to the channel. Until next time guys, I hope you have enjoyed and I'll speak to you later. Peace.